Good afternoon, my friends. This is Paul, and today I'll be reviewing for you all of the DLC for Master Detective Archives Raincode. Now, you might be wondering, Paul, Master Detective Raincode and its DLC came out in 2023. Why are you reviewing it this late? Mainly because I kind of forgot that the DLC existed. I was renting Master Detective Archives, and by the time I beat it, the DLC still wasn't out, so I sent it back and kind of just forgot about it. So when I recently re-rented it, because I needed something to do, Nintendo hasn't announced anything for February, I saw that it had DLC when I rewatched my old review, looked on the eShop, it was only $8 on sale, and I said, hey, I've got a gift card, let's do it. Now, the DLC here is basically a couple of prequel stories involving each of the master detectives at the Nocturnal Detective Agency, and the gameplay and general feel of each case is extremely subjective to who it is that the episode is about. Halara's is going to involve a lot of logical deductions and is probably my favorite in terms of gameplay because you actually get to walk around a crime scene, investigate, and then piece together your reasoning. It's not quite as satisfying as the main game or anything in Ace Attorney, but it is nice to get to do a little bit more detective work after I thought Master Detective Archives had already wrapped up. Fubuki's at first ends up just walking in a straight line over and over again, but eventually you do get to answer some questions, although it's not quite as involved as Halara's because you just choose one out of the two and there's not really a penalty if you get it wrong. But it does play nice off of Fubuki's strengths, as she's a very ditzy airhead, and the case kind of just has that feel that it was cobbled together in like the best way possible. Desuhiko's is a little bit on the annoying side because he's constantly hitting on women, sometimes even to the detriment of the case. And so all you do gameplay wise is you walk around a select portion of Kane Ward and talk to people on the street to gather information about a thief. And if it weren't for the fact that I love the main tune of Kane Ward and I love the neon colors and the reflections off the light, I would have found this a total snooze fest, especially because you don't really do any detective work. Desuhiko's the one who does all of the problem solving. Eventually you get to answer questions, but it felt like neither of the answers really mattered, that the game was going to reach a foregone conclusion no matter what I did, so that one was a little bit of a letdown. Then we have Vivia's, which involves a relatively short stealth section that I didn't fail a single time, and I don't consider myself the best stealth player in the world. Most of my credentials are from Wind Waker, which you know that's a pretty low bar where stealth is concerned. And his story was ridiculously abstract and surreal, but again, it fit him so well. And I think if people consider Vivia their favorite character, I think they would agree that this side story was really done justice, especially for how out there it was. Now, my least favorite of these sub-stories had to be Yako's, or is it Yakuo? He's the chief of the Nocturnal Detective Agency, and his is just flat out weird and boring at the same time. Like, yes, I just said Vivia's was weird, but at least with that, it had a nice resolution. Like, you still got to figure out a mystery, even if you didn't put the pieces together. You could still work it out if you knew what happened in the main game, whereas in this, you just walk in a straight line from left to right, and Yakuo walks really slowly, and eventually there's just a lot of dialogue and no other type of gameplay there. In fact, I didn't even really realize what the heck was going on during his segment. I got that it was meant to be like an origin story, but what all happened before that was weird. So that's the only one I would actively discourage against buying, if it weren't for the fact that buying all of the side stories is a better deal, because you would otherwise have to pay $5 for each individual pack. If you get it on sale like I did, then you get it for $10, which is only a little bit over the price of one of the packs. So you might as well just get all of them. Just know that these are prequels to the main story. However, despite that, they do spoil some of the detective abilities, so if you wanted to figure those out for yourself, you might want to play the main game first. Yako's in particular, as weird as it was, I could tell that it probably would have spoiled a huge twist in one of the later chapters. I highly recommend playing through all of Master Detective Archives before you get any of these. These side stories were nothing special. They were just fun little additional mysteries with some hit or miss gameplay. But, you know, it was still, for the most part, fully voiced and kept up the tradition of allowing you to solve stuff, even if a lot of it was relatively easy and tame compared to the craziness of the main game. I say only pick it up if you're a die-hard Master Detective Archives fan, but just know that if you decide not to pick them up, you're not missing much. So with that, thank you very much for watching. Let me know down in the comments if you have any questions, and until the next time, remember to keep the faith, stay epic, and God bless. Bye!